Welcome to Rising Up and Finding the Power Within with Nancy Pusateri. In today's episode, Nancy will be kicking off an important series that delves into the concept of trauma programming and how it may have affected you. Together, we will explore the signs that suggest you may have been trauma programmed, as well as the steps you can take to reclaim your freedom and heal from past experiences. Throughout this series, we'll unpack the intricacies of trauma programming, shedding light on how it manifests in our lives and relationships. We'll also provide you with practical tools and insights to help you break free from these patterns and embrace a life filled with empowerment and resilience. So, whether you're just beginning to recognize the effects of trauma or are well on your healing journey, this series is designed for you. Join Nancy as she embarks on this transformative path toward understanding and overcoming trauma programming. Let's rise up together and uncover the power within to find true freedom.
I really enjoy the fact that I've come to this point in my life where I can share a lot of what I feel inside from being programmed and how I was able to unprogram. Finding the power within is the key to our healing and discovering who we really are. And it's been really, really difficult for me over the years because of some stubbornness, some not believing I could heal, and also the continuous abuse that I chose to be in. And once I realized how these had affected my life decisions and how it affected my life cycle, I realized that I needed to change my ways and go a different direction. Now, I do want this episode, it's going to be a series of episodes, but this particular episode, I'm going to go over some recognizing and understanding, and the psychological programming employed by our abusers can really affect our daily lives and also how we take care of ourselves and what really matters, because what happens is we become programmed to believe that we don't matter and that we need to put ourselves aside and accommodate others, which is exactly the opposite of what we're here for. If you have children, this is more entitled for you too, because you just don't want to start programming your children. And the whole point of my podcast is to eliminate and break cycles that harm us and make us feel as if we're unworthy. And I really think that a lot of the things that we go through is just so intertwined, and there's so much behind it, and our emotionals and our mind is constantly going, and then everybody's got ADHD and everyone's a perfectionist, or everyone's going out doing this or doing that, and there's just all these different reactions to losing yourself and not understanding that that's what's happening. It's very difficult to come to terms and believe it. So I hope I plant some seeds. I hope I connect with somebody out there that is like, yes, that's exactly what I needed to hear. A lot of times we are here just trying to make it through our day, and we hope that we don't wake up the next day. That was my life. I just didn't realize I had a purpose, or I had a reason, or all of this, why did it happen? And if you've read my book, Rising Up, that's a lot of programming that a child went through, I went through, and I no longer connect with that child to the level of being a victim, but as a survivor, I've looked back at it and I've had nothing but sadness and anger and a lot of why did this all happen? And what was the initial gain of me being in this situation? So starting with a more light topic, we're all being programmed. We're all being programmed in this world. We are programmed from the day we're born. We are told this is the way it's supposed to go. This is what we're all supposed to do. And then when it comes down to it, I mean, children are becoming what their parents tell them to become. Their viewpoints are initially connected to what their parents believe in. And this programming can affect an individual to put aside not even understanding that this possibility is available to go ahead and discover who you really are inside, Who are you? Why are you here? And what is this life supposed to teach you? So one thing I do want to express is through my struggles and through my growing process, I realized that life is nothing but a long school. You're constantly learning. You're constantly in dilemma. You're constantly having to make choices. You can become robotic and do the assembly line, or you can become ritual and do what you're told you should be doing as far as a ritual basis. But who are you? Are you that? Are you that religion? Are you that job? Are you that family? Is there something deep inside you that is good, pure, and gifted that the world is missing out on? Because you were programmed, you were unable to discover those areas, and you probably don't even know you have that ability. So I just want you to stop and take a notebook and write down at the top, who am I? And I want you to write down every single thing that you believe you are. Now, these are the first steps of trying to peel away the layers of really who you are, because what your belief system is today is not necessarily what you truly believe. But no one's given you that access to really think about who you really are and what is your purpose here in this world. One of the things that are used because they want to erode your self-esteem, distort your sense of reality, and they want you to believe something that's not true. They'll use different tactics like gaslighting, isolation, love bombing, fear, intimidation, emotional blackmail. These are all the things I'm going to be going over, and also projection. And these are just, one goes so far to the left and the other one goes so far to the right, and it's like there's such a drastic way of being and receiving these things. It's almost like you're a ping pong ball going every which way. How in the world am I supposed to think about myself? I'm being attacked in every which way. Then I've got this in front of me. Oh, come to peace. Yeah, right. Trust me, I get it. But don't give up. A space will open in your life, if you want it to create this moment of realization, of finding out, oh my gosh, did this really happen? And did I really deal with this? And oh my, and if anything, you need to pat yourself on the back because you survived that moment and that moment and that comment and that this and this and this. Yeah, it was affecting you, but the thing is, you didn't let it break you. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still hopeful. You still want to be better. You know there's got to be something better. And there is. But I'm going to tell you, being on this side now, it's a little sad because there's not a lot of people over here. The other side is crowded and it's overwhelming. It's in every media. But then when you get onto this side, it's really quiet. It's peaceful. It's unexpected, with joy and happiness and oneness, and it's crazy because I missed that opportunity because I dealt with the other side thinking that was the way to go. I never ever took the time to figure out who the hell am I and what is going on. I always was fighting those emotions because they just kept coming up and making themselves a priority. And once I learned, and I'll go over this stuff, but once I learned what worked for me, everyone's different. You got to find your niche. You've got to find what drives you and what you will listen to. Because the voice right now going on in your head isn't who you are. It's who you think you are. If you don't like that voice, if that voice doesn't make you feel good, it's not your voice to listen to. Someone else planted that voice. And so now today I want to plant my voice and let you know you need to go on an exploration. And I'm going to tell you, this journey can be like a freaking mountain, up and down. But once you get past a certain point, you kind of look back and you're just like, I think I got past the hard stuff. The stuff that was not letting me see. You don't know what's on the other side of that mountain. You can't see it. And it's just true in anything. You don't know. You can study for a test and think you got it, and you sit down and all the words are changed. Nothing makes sense. You don't know what you're doing, and you fail that test because you didn't study the right material. You studied what you thought was going to be on that test. So one of the tactics they use is gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation that leads the victims to doubt their perceptions or feelings. What is a perception? Your perception, everyone has their own perception, and not two are alike. We are all different. We are all wired to like different things and enjoy different things in life. There are no two people 100% alike. Not no two people. They may have common interests, but 100% of those interests will not match with another individual. So first of all, your perception is what you perceive on what you're looking at. So if you see a little girl and she's dirty and she's at the playground playing and she's got dirt on her face, some people might look at her and perceive her as being a little tomboy getting into things, right? Another one might think, oh my goodness, maybe she's homeless. Maybe her family's homeless and they can't afford clothes and to bathe her. And another perception could be, oh my God, she's probably being abused. We need to call, social services and get this investigated. So everyone has a different perception on that little girl, when in fact, maybe she is a tomboy and she is dirty and wants to get into things. And in order for you to observe this child's actions, you would identify exactly which perception is accurate. So our perception is never 100%. What you perceive in front of you does not mean you have all the details. You might be seeing something from one face view. And a lot of times that's difficult to swallow because people think that what they see is what it is, and it's not. So gaslighting. When that individual that is an abuser or a manipulator, whatever it is, they have an illness, let's just categorize this automatically that there is something not wired correctly in their brain. Because if they can't get onto the other side of compassion, joy, and love, there's something missing. There's a void that may never be able to be filled in these individuals. They are permanently damaged. So our job is not to fix them. Our job is to survive being in a relationship with them or working for them or, hearing them on TV or whatever it is. Our job is to identify and understand that that's not you. That's not a part of you. You don't have anything to do with that. So when someone gaslights you, they'll manipulate leading the victim to doubt their perception or feeling. An abuser may insist that an event never occurred or that the victim is overreacting, making them question their sanity. My mom was a big gaslighter. That was like, award winner, my mom. And she was always used things that meant something to me. And then offer to help, be there, say, oh yes, I'm your go-to. I'll help you. I'll take care of you. When technically she's a snake, because her intentions by saying that was to pull me in to do harm. And that's not love. A mother shouldn't do that. So pulling me in, making false promises. And then when it came down to when I needed her help, where I set up and lined up everything, she'll turn around and say, I never promised you that, because I wouldn't have it on record. It was what she told me. So no one witnessed it. No one saw it. It was something that I just had to become embarrassed and turn to all the things I set up and call those people and say, I'm sorry, I'm not able to do this right now. And embarrassed because my mother, who was supposed to help me, backed out on purpose and wasted all of that time of mine. When I could have been working, when I could have been excelling and could have been doing it on my own with other alternatives. She was not the only option, but I wanted a relationship with my mom. And I was willing to put up with her sickness, with her delusions, to have that relationship. It was doing so much harm to me, to my soul, to my family. So when she would gaslight, it would turn into this moment of depression, of being let down, abandoned. I got all those feelings going on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going backwards. Every time I try to go one step forward, I'm being pulled back, not 3 steps, not 5 steps, but 10 steps back. Now I lost time, I lost money, and I lost myself because I wanted that relationship with her. So now am I lying to myself? Is that what I deserve? Is this something I need to go through to learn something about myself? Do I have an opportunity to learn not to be that way? So moving on, we have isolation. Abusers will isolate. They will take you and slowly cut off everything that you have connection with that brings you joy. They do not want you to have any positive outlook because that is an opportunity for you to find out who they really are. Talking to a friend, talking to a neighbor, to a relative, a loved one. They even will control the communication in a household. Yes, they will make sure that the mother doesn't get along with the children and the children don't get along with each other. And there's all these little tactics being played behind each other's back to create this dynamic because they want to be the core of that home, which is not well. That's not the way it's supposed to be because you're not lifting up your family, you're not building your family, and you're not bringing in positive relationships to contribute to that family moment. So that isolation causes an individual to go into extreme sadness, extreme loneliness, extreme confusion, depression, isolation. You just start self-isolating because you know that's the way it's going to go. You also don't make new friends because you can't offer those friends what they have with other friendships. You already have to explain, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to go there. The only time I was able to have friends is if they were willing to come onto my side and stay on my side and accept a little bit of what they saw. And I know my friends saw it. So they chose it for a period of time, but you saw the self-destruction that it did to them, and they didn't even live there, that they had to stop talking to me. And I understood that. So that isolation causes you to be very lonely, and it's a very sad place to be. And then they start love bombing you too. And I have a story for every freaking one of these. Love bombing is like overwhelming their partner with affection and attention. And they'll use tactics to create like a false sense of security, making it harder for the victims to recognize that they're manipulation, that they're manipulating. So my father would get very, very love bomby. And this love bombing at first, I bought it, of course, everyone does. And then you start realizing when they're saying what they're saying to you, your thoughts in your head at that moment are like, why would I believe you? Like, they're lying to you. So a lot of it is, or you're just kissing up to me because you want something, or you're trying to apologize without apologizing. So there's a lot of things that they do with love bombing. And my father was a love bomber. I mean, it didn't really affect me so much because I knew that wasn't love. I knew for some reason at a very young age, a lot of things most children would not know. And I just had this drive inside me that was just like, no, I don't feel right with you. Because when I would have other experiences, I would recognize what was right. So like my grandparents or close friends of the family. So love bombing was another thing. Fear and intimidation is another. Also my father. My mother, I don't think I was scared of her one bit. I was needing her, which was causing an open door for her to apply her narcissistic behaviors. But my father used fear and intimidation. And that came with violence, that came with threats, that came with silent threats. I'm not sure if anyone would understand that. Almost like putting a gun on the counter. This isn't something that happened to me, but it's an example. Putting a gun on the counter, letting the victim know I have a gun and I'll use it, but not saying that. So again, using your perception of what does that gun mean? Oh, yeah, you got a gun. Do you want me to clean it? Oh, no, you're telling me something. So distinguishing between the two is healthy. You need to distinguish what is good behavior and what's bad behavior. These people, at first dictate how we feel. They do. They that's their goal, is to eliminate you having your own mind and your own destiny and your own anything. So they will use fear and intimidation, because what happens to our body is when it over hypervigilance and all these emotions are going haywire and crazy, there is no way you can get to that quiet place. It's not possible to be or to ever find that quiet place. You actually believe it doesn't even exist. But I'm telling you it does. It's just you've got to take the mass majority of this and just start peeling it away, because that's what's keeping you from seeing that place, getting to that moment. So the fear and intimidation is very hard to deal with. It takes a lot of courage to get out of that. I can understand why people don't move, because that's probably one of the tactics that keep us from putting ourselves so far aside that we lose ourselves and become what that individual wants us to become. So I get that. My dad did that quite a bit, and that controlled me for several years. It took me 4 years to go to the police, but it was because of the fear and the intimidation. And not only did he intimidate, he acted on it to show me that I'm not just going to threaten you or give you a warning. I'm going to show you that I'm going to follow through with what I'm giving you a warning. So next time, all I have to do is give you a warning. I don't have to follow through unless I want to. So, and you never knew which side you were going to get. So that fear and intimidation is very difficult, because now you got to go quiet. You got to become like under your shell. And if you have that drive inside saying, I got to get out, all of a sudden you got to go underground with who you're becoming and have a persona in front of your abuser. And then we have our emotional blackmail. An abuser may manipulate the victim's emotions using guilt, obligation to gain compliance. So if you leave me, you'll ruin my life, or, placing all of this on the victim. The abuser wants to load you up and make you so heavy that you can't stand up. They want to load you up mentally, they want to load you up emotionally, and then your physical body can't even perform. It can't even do what it's supposed to do. You have to go in a daze. You almost have to, find a drug to remove so you can get through that day. And I get it. I get it, because it's just so big and it's so hard. And it's almost like, well, I'm going to talk a lot about how to get out of this too. And again, you really got to go with what connects with you. And at first, sometimes you'll hear what you need to do and you stomp your feet going, nope, nope, nope. You reject it and reject it. I'm going to tell you what you need to do is going to keep coming back around and back around and back around. Eventually, you will get tired of saying no to that avenue and saying finally yes. And maybe that's why you're listening to me today. So I hope that this all helps you. And I hope that, you're understanding. But this emotional blackmail my mother would do, she would be like, a lot of it was what it would do to our family if I did this, or it was just so, what did you do now, Nancy? Or just judgments and just these snide remarks and just trying to really get under my skin and make me feel guilty. And I did. I did a lot of guilt over the things that she said and did to me. And I realized, why am I feeling guilty? And then once you take that and turn it around and start asking yourself the other question, you're realizing, wow, there's another question. Now I can look at this differently. And shifting my perception was extremely beneficial, because that's how I started to heal. And that's what you need to do, is shift that perception. Projection. Abusers will often project their negative behaviors onto you. And again, that goes into guilting, confusing you, giving you self-doubt and all that good stuff that they want to do. But my mother would do that too. So, if you look at this list, I have 50% mom and 50% dad reprogramming me or programming me from a very young age. So I got kind of double whammied. And then I got a sister, the third one. And it was just like, holy moly. I was standing alone on one side and watching these three lunatics on the other side and try to make sense of it. And I did. I'm not a lunatic. So, yes. That concludes today's episode, and thank you for joining me on this empowering journey today on Rising Up. Remember, healing from abusive trauma is a process, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. Each episode, I hope it will provide you with insights and tools and encouragement that you need to reclaim your power and find your voice. If you found this content helpful and inspiring, please consider subscribing, to my podcast and also liking, so that way it reaches out to more people like you and me. And also comment below, let me know of your thoughts, and if there's anything that you want me to talk more about. If you have any questions, that would be wonderful. Right there in the comments is a great place to go. You could also go to my website at www.risingup-nancypusateri.com. I have my email on there, my phone number. You can text me. I'm open to any type of conversation as long as it stays within the parameters of what I'm talking about. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. Together, we can rise up and find the power within to heal. Until next time, take care of yourselves and be kind to one another. Thank you.